Today, Gypsy is here in the Chillicothe Correctional Center in a very different kind of prison. Dr. Phil.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. Let's just start with kind of where you are now. You're in prison because you took a plea deal, correct?
Correct.
You pled to what?
10 years incarceration for second-degree murder.
How did you plead to the Class A felony of murder in the second degree?
Guilty.
Should you be in this prison?
To be honest, I have complicated feelings about that. I believe firmly that no matter what, murder is not okay. But at the same time, I don't believe I deserve as many years as I got.
But your mother is dead.
She is, yes.
And she was murdered.
Yes, sir.
And you were involved.
I was.
And but for you initiating this sequence of events, she would still be alive.
Yes, sir.
So in that sense, you are responsible for her death.
Yes, sir.
What would be a just punishment?
I'm not really certain on that. I do believe that I do deserve to spend some time in prison for that crime, but also I understand why it happened, and I don't believe that I'm in the right place to get the help that I need.
Are you glad your mother's dead?
No, sir. I'm glad that I'm out of that situation, but I am not happy she's dead.
Why did you want your mother dead at the time?
At the time, I knew that I was being abused, but I didn't know exactly what kind of abuse it was. I just knew that I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things, and my mother was the reason. She would force me to be in a wheelchair and force me to go to doctor's appointments that I didn't need, and I just wanted that life to stop. So ultimately, I never wanted her dead. I just wanted that life to stop, that life to be dead, the life I was living.
Right. Well, let's talk about that. What's the earliest thing you remember in your childhood?
I think my first memory would be in the hospital. And I remember having a surgery done to my eyes, where they had to put a patch over my eyes.
And how old would you have been, you think?
Probably like 3 or 4.
Do you remember going to school?
I've never been to school.
Never got to go to kindergarten, pre-K?
No, sir. No, sir.
Do you remember playing in the backyard with other children?
I played when I was younger with my cousins. As I got older, I wasn't allowed to have any more friends.
Did you want to go play?
I did. I asked Mom if I could go play outside, make a friend, and she'd be like, "It's too dangerous. You have to stay in here. Go play with your Barbie dolls." And so my stuffed animals became my friends.
I don't think calling Gypsy's life sheltered would do it justice. Her mother controlled almost every aspect of her life.
The control was total in the same sense that the control of a kidnapped victim sometimes is total. Her daughter was in essence a hostage.
There's a point at which you got put in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And you were 7 years old, correct?
Yes, sir.
Why did she tell you you were going in the wheelchair?
I did get into a motorcycle accident with my grandfather, and it skinned my knee. And she took me to the hospital and then told me that the doctor gave her a wheelchair, and I have to be in a wheelchair now.
Forever?
Forever. She had me use a walker before the wheelchair. And then after that motorcycle accident, put in the wheelchair.
Why did she tell you you had to be on a walker?
She said that I had muscular dystrophy.
But did you feel any different the day before you got the walker than the day you did have the walker?
No, sir.
You were able to run around?
Pretty much, yes.
And would you forget to get it and run into the kitchen?
There would be times that I'd forget to grab it and then go to walk. And then my mom would catch me and be like, "Use your walker."
I questioned Dee Dee about it, and I'm like, she can walk or not? She's been in a wheelchair all her life. And, the answer I got from Dee Dee was, she had a disease she was diagnosed with, and it was going to progressively get worse, and eventually she was going to be bound to the wheelchair at all time.
Did she tell you when you went out that you were to stay in the wheelchair?
Yes, sir, she would.
But you knew you could walk.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever say to her, Mother, I can walk. Why am I in this wheelchair?
No, sir, I never asked that.
When she wasn't around, did you get up and walk secretly?
I did, yes, sir.
Did she ever catch you walking?
She did a couple times.
And what did she say or do?
She got so upset with me, she would punish me so bad. Like, she started hitting me with a coat hanger and telling me all kinds of mean things. She would tell me that she wished she had an abortion when she had the chance, that I ruined her life, that I have no idea how hard it is to keep up everything she built.
Did you understand that you being sick was necessary to keep up what she built? Because you got a house from Habitat for Humanity, you got donations, you got different things from people for being sick.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a source of income for her, right?
It was, yes. And I had no idea that I was a part of that.
You didn't know that you were a cash cow.
No.
Dee Dee got a house from Habitat for Humanity. They would have free trips here and there, free flights. She was getting some money from a couple of celebrities. Their life was full of free stuff, I guess, fun stuff.
The Blanchard scammed many different charities and lied to many different charities across the U.S., including churches and support groups.
Dee Dee Blanchard was exaggerating her daughter's medical condition for financial gain.
You were diagnosed with epilepsy about this time as well, right?
Yes, sir.
And so they started giving you Tegretol,
Mm-hmm.
and it caused your teeth to crumble.
Yes, sir.
Did you know what was happening at the time?
No, I really didn't. I just didn't understand why my teeth were falling out. I had to have them extracted. I just knew I was losing teeth.
But you know now you didn't have epilepsy.
I know now.
You know now you didn't need to be in that wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
You know now she was making all of that up. After you went in the wheelchair, you had a feeding tube inserted.
Yes, sir.
Did she tell you why?
My mother told the doctors that I couldn't eat, so they put a permanent feeding tube in.
Looking back, are you suspect as to what she might have been putting in that tube? Could she have been poisoning you in some way to keep you sickly?
It does pique my curiosity because I don't know all the names of the medications that I was on.
Could she have been poisoning you in some way to keep you sickly? Could she have been over-medicating you to keep you weak?
It's a possibility.
When you went to see doctors, did she tell you what to say? Did she tell you what not to say?
She told me that I couldn't speak during a doctor's appointment. She would tell me, sit in the wheelchair, play with your Barbie dolls, and let me talk and don't interrupt. My mother told the doctors that I was mentally incompetent. Therefore, they thought, she won't know what she's talking about. She's got the mind of like a child.
So did she tell you that you were intellectually challenged?
Yes, sir. She would always use the medical term for everything that was wrong, that I had microcephaly, which is small head, that my brain didn't develop right, and I'll never mature past a 6-year-old's mental level.
You saw a doctor in New Orleans that did a muscle biopsy on you to check for muscular dystrophy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a muscle biopsy for muscular dystrophy is a very painful procedure.
I still have the scar.
Yeah, they strip muscle from your thigh, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you know now about that?
It came back normal.
And she knew that.
I think that she did know that. If a doctor wouldn't give her the results that she wanted or say what she wanted them to say, she would switch to a different doctor.
Gypsy has essentially fallen through every crack there is in the system.
Literally everyone failed her. Literally. The doctors who were positioned as there to help her didn't help her.
You wound up seeing a Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein. A lot comes tumbling down at this point, right? Because he has you stand up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where was your mother at this point?
She was inside the room.
With you?
With me. He kind of held my hands, and I put some weight on my legs. And I think that gave him the inkling that this girl could walk. This girl is not paralyzed. She has muscle strength.
And how did your mother react to that?
She did not like him whatsoever. She was like, I'm not even bringing you back to see him. I'm switching doctors.
Each one of these paper clips is some medical record where Dee Dee essentially lied to the doctor about something. And this is something that you see almost across all of the records. Then we get into the family history. The family history changed depending on what doctor she was at.
Flasterstein wrote, "This mother is not a good historian." He says, quote, "Analyzing all the facts, there is a strong possibility of Munchausen by proxy." So he says, there's a good chance that this mother is making this child sick on purpose for her own gain. He wrote that down. He talked to another doctor you had seen before who said, I found nothing wrong with her. He writes down, Munchausen by proxy. This mother is not to be trusted. What happened from that?
Nothing ever came of it. It didn't stop. Nobody said anything. Nothing was done.
When did you figure this out? The doctor writes down, Munchausen by proxy. This mother is not to be trusted. When did you figure this out?
I started having an inkling when I turned 19, and I had made a friend, Aaliyah. She was our next door neighbor. And I started wondering, why can't I be like Aaliyah? Why can't I have friends? I would look at her life, and her life was so different from mine, so it made me question my life.
Did you ever tell your dad?
No, my mother would tell me such awful things about my father. He abandoned us. He doesn't want anything to do with you. He's happy with his new family now. He doesn't love you. So I thought, why bother going to him when he won't care?
They started moving further and further away, and the visits became more scarce. I'd call and say, where's Gypsy? And I talk to her and say, well, she's taking a nap. Call back in an hour. I'll have her ready for you. So, I'd call back and, she'd be ready there with all the right answers. And it's scary to think what she told Gypsy, the consequences she'd have if she did see anything,
Pretty soon, I found a couple of bits of paper in my mom's safe, things that stated that I was born in 1991. Made me question my real age. I asked her about it. She said that it was a typo. I had taken those papers and the Medicaid card that I found, and I ran away from home. I didn't get very far because she found me pretty quickly and took me back home. Boy, was I in a lot of trouble.
What happened when you got home?
She smashed my laptop.
How did she smash it?
It was a hammer. And she told me if I was to contact anybody, any of her friends, and tell them that she would take a hammer to my fingers next time. And then she put a bell on the door, so if I tried to run away again, she could hear it. And she had taken handcuffs and a dog leash and tied it together and tied me to the bed, chained me to the bed.
So how long were you tied to the bed?
About 2 weeks. I just don't understand how somebody can do this to their child that they're supposed to protect and love, not use them as a cash cow.
Do you think she loved you?
When I was younger, I thought that. And then when I found out the truth, I'm like, I didn't know this woman at all, did I? Everything that she ever told me was a lie. So how can I honestly believe her whenever she told me she loved me?
She kept you in a wheelchair. She kept you on a feeding tube. She had you diagnosed with asthma, hypoventilation, epilepsy, hearing and vision impairment, GI reflux, muscular dystrophy, quadriplegia, mild mental retardation, as she called it, anemia, allergies, leukemia, incontinence, lung disease, heart murmur, all of these things. They had you on pages and pages of medications, many of which have side effects that mimic the diseases that she said you had. You were being set up.
Right.
Why would she do that to you?
I don't know.
Dee Dee, we had some books we found in the house, Leukemia for Dummies and, different books like that. So she did her research. She knew the terminology. She knew how to make Gypsy appear to have certain symptoms by giving her certain medications. She was pretty slick.
What does that cause you to feel when you realize how viciously exploitive this woman was with you?
When I first found out, I was so angry and hurt. And it's like, I trusted her so much to do everything that she told me to do, be her good little girl like she wanted me to be. And every time I'd mess up, I'd always ever say, next time I'll do better, next time I'll do better. Don't get angry with me. And it just hurts because every time she told me that she loved me, that she was trying to protect me, now that I know, the only person I need protection from is her.
You ran away once, she chained you up.
Mm-hmm.
But then you start talking to somebody online.
I made an online dating profile on a Christian dating website because I started to have feelings of wanting a boyfriend. And that was something that was never allowed.
Was your head shaved at that point?
It was, yes, sir.
You had been told you had leukemia, right?
Yes, sir.
And she said, let's shave your head because it's going to fall out. We'll at least keep it even.
Yes, sir.
But you now know she wanted you to look like a cancer patient.
Yes, sir.
But you go on the dating site and you've got a shaved head.
I wore wigs.
You were kind of big into costumes a lot, right?
I was, yes.
You would wear wigs and costumes just kind of a fantasy type thing?
Yes, sir.
How old are you here?
21.
And what was the occasion for this picture?
We would go to a sci-fi fantasy convention.
We being your mother and you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In your wheelchair.
In my wheelchair, yes.
And how about this picture?
That was at Disney World.
And who are you in this picture?
Cinderella.
Does that seem odd now?
It does seem odd.
So you're on the computer and it's on this Christian dating site that you meet Nicholas.
Nicholas Godejohn, the man who was arrested with Gypsy and charged with Dee Dee's murder. Godejohn also has a criminal past. In 2013, he was arrested after investigators say he was watching pornography and fondling himself in a McDonald's restaurant for 9 hours. Police charged him with carrying a concealed weapon.
And you guys communicate for about a year?
Our relationship was about almost 3 years.
How much of it was just talking back and forth on the computer?
99% of it.
What did he say when you said, I'm in a wheelchair, but I can walk?
He said that he knew already. He said that he was psychic and that he had these premonitions that I could walk.
And what did you think about that?
It was more of the tamer things that he used to talk about. He also thought that he was a 500-year-old vampire named Victor.
A 500-year-old vampire named Victor. What did you think about that?
He said that he was psychic and that he had these premonitions. He thought that he was a 500-year-old vampire named Victor.
A 500-year-old vampire named Victor. What did you think about that?
I was like, oh, okay. I played along, I guess.
You didn't believe it? Or did you?
I think a part of me did believe it at the time.
You did believe he was a 500-year-old vampire named Victor living in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
What else did he talk about that was less tame than that he was a psychic?
He had multiple personalities. Victor was only one of them. He had other personalities that were much more violent and scary such as he called him the Black One. He would just talk in this horrible, scary voice, and he would talk about how he wanted to kill me and how he wanted to rape me. He said, I will kill you so bad they will never find your body.
But you wanted to meet him.
I did. I was in love with thought I was in love with the good side of him. I was very, very naive back then. I never had a boyfriend. I didn't know a good relationship from a bad one. All I ever knew. 'Knew, 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 'knew,
There was pretty sexual content going back and forth on the internet, right?
Yes, sir.
He was erotic role-playing, and you had alter egos as well, right?
I made alter egos to fit his.
Okay, like, tell me about Little Kitty.
Little Kitty was kind of a little girl. I kind of based her looks off of anime cartoons.
You said it was based on his
personalities.
And which one did that one go with?
That went with his little boy personality.
And then there was Candy. What was that?
Candy was more of the vixen, more risque.
And that went with what?
That went with his, that personality that's more sexual.
And what about Ruby?
Ruby was for Victor.
Ruby was for the vampire. So Ruby was evil.
Ruby was a werewolf, and she was the evil one.
Okay. So that goes on for quite some time, right? When did you meet him for real?
In March of 2015.
And where was that?
At a movie theater. We went to see the new version of Cinderella.
Right.
And my mother and I was going to see the movie. So I had asked him, why don't you come and meet me finally? And so he took a Greyhound bus to Springfield, Missouri.
From
Wisconsin.
Were you excited?
I was very excited to meet this person that, I've been talking to for so long.
Do you go in a costume?
I did.
Did people look at you?
They just thought it was like a little girl wanting to dress up for Disney princess movie.
And how was he dressed?
I had bought him some nice clothes to wear and sent it to him. I just wanted him to look nice, so hopefully he can impress my mother.
She didn't know he had come down from Wisconsin.
No.
She just thought some guy you bumped into at the movie.
Right.
So were you alone with him at the movie?
No, my mother was sitting right next to us. And then my mother got increasingly angry because I was paying more attention to him than I was to her.
Okay. Was this picture taken at the movie?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have sexual relations with him at the movie?
Yes, sir.
Where was your mother?
She was in the auditorium. We had went to the bathroom, in the men's bathroom. I wheeled myself to the bathroom and he followed while my mother was still in the auditorium.
She knew he was following?
Yes. She thought that he was going to get popcorn.
Where did you go once you got in the men's bathroom?
The handicap stall.
And what happened then?
We had sex.
So you have sex in the handicap stall in the men's bathroom at the Cinderella movie, and then you get back in your chair and motor back out to the auditorium, and she knew none the better.
Here she is. She's 24 years old. She's growing up. I mean, you can't deny adolescence. She really loved the guy. She wanted to have a family. She wanted to be married. People do a lot of things for love.
Now, it's after this meeting at the movies. Did you ask him to kill your mother?
Investigators say the awful Facebook posts that tipped off friends that something was wrong were actually authored by Gypsy herself. She told investigators she knew her boyfriend, Nicholas Gojon, was going to kill her mother, and she did nothing to stop it.
After this meeting at the movies, did you ask him to kill your mother?
Yes. We had thought of different ideas. We called it Plan B. I was getting desperate, and we bounced around that idea.
But did you ask him, quote, will you kill my mother for me?
I probably did, yes, sir.
Now, you had some text exchanges that seemed to me that this Plan B was pretty much a collaborative process. On June 2nd, you send a text that says, I'm 100% in, hun. I'm ready, truly. He says, why you say that, baby? You say, because I've finally allowed myself to accept you're my everything. I will go with you and live our dream. So then on the 9th, you say, hun, does he require just the gloves and knife? When you're saying he to Nick, you're referring to his alter ego, Victor, right?
Yes, sir.
And Nick says, hun, that side of me expects duct tape too, to muffle her. You say, okay, baby, we have that. I'll pre-cut it. At 7:25, Nick says, dear, I should ask you this before he has to. Is your mom a light or deep sleeper? You say, light, hun. Okay, dear. Now he's excited. They're going to go down tonight, Ruby said. That's your alter ego, your evil side. And he says, well, how does Ruby feel about it? She keeps me numb in order to cope and survive. We now fast forward to that night, 8:36 p.m. You text, I left the gloves outside the front door and the screen door is squeaky. So try to open it just enough to get in and close it gentle. I'll hand him the knife and the duct tape inside, darling. It's pre-cut and ready. At any point during this time, did you look at this and say, this is beyond weird here? I'm talking to a guy that's talking about himself in the third person, and the third person's a 500-year-old vampire, and he's glad that my mother's a light sleeper so she'll be awake when he's hacking her to death. I mean, even though at the time you felt like you wanted her dead, did you think this is beyond strange?
To be honest, I didn't think it was real because we had been talking about it for so long that I became numb to the idea, like, oh, okay, we're just having another conversation about it. We're not actually taking the steps to planning this, and this is going to happen.
I'll hand him the knife and the duct tape inside, darling. It's pre-cut and ready. At that point, you knew this was happening, right?
I just went through the motions. It didn't sink in until it was actually happening.
He says, baby, there's no other option. He's going to finish her no matter what. That is how he is. And you say, okay, darling, he is brave. I respect and admire that, smiley face. But after we comfort each other, after we do that, sweetheart, I'll hold you like the baby girl of mine that you are. Tell me in your own words what happened that night. I want to talk about the night of the murder. Tell me in your own words what happened that night.
Well, really, my mother and I had got into an argument 2 days before, and it was about my feeding tube. I'm like, I no longer need this feeding tube. Can we please have it removed? And she said no. And I had an upcoming surgery, and I didn't want to have it, so I asked her, please tell the doctor I don't need this surgery. I've had it 20 times before. Why do we have to have it again? And she's like, there's nothing I can do about it. The doctor wants it. And so I became very numb to plan B. And I talked to Nick. He had me talk to Victor, who initially was the one that was going to do the murder. And he was like, ask Victor, please. And I said, Victor, will you please come kill my mother for me? Because I can't do it myself.
Was this on the phone or was this over text?
This was over the computer.
Okay, so you're emailing back and forth, texting, messaging, whatever?
Yes, sir.
You say, we're going to do this. We're not ever going to bring it up again. Then at 9:08 p.m. on the 10th, you say she's taking her sleep aid. Okay, baby, I'm calculating the money for the ride. You say, once you're inside the house, we stay silent, not even a whisper until after I open that bathroom door. And he says, never underestimate his will to kill.
Victor said that he had conditions. One condition would be, it would be with a knife. The other condition is he would have to rape her after he murdered her. And I told him, absolutely not. I am not okay with that. And he said, it's either Victor's way or the highway. Like, Victor won't do it if you don't agree to my terms. So I said, fine, use the knife, but you are not raping her. He's like, well, fine, I'll make you a deal. It's either rape her or rape you after. And I said, rape me, because I won't let you do it to her.
What happened then?
And so after that, he took his bus, Greyhound bus, from Wisconsin to Missouri. He stayed at the local hotel. I texted him when my mother went to sleep. I let him in the door. There were gloves waiting for him, plastic gloves, by the door.
You put them there?
I put them there. He came in, and he was wearing a hoodie and dark clothing and a scary t-shirt that had evil clowns on it. And I handed him the knife, and he said, get your ass in the bathroom now. And I went in the bathroom, closed the door behind me, and kind of got down in a kneeling position and put my hands over my ears so I couldn't hear anything. But I did hear stuff. I heard her scream for me a couple times. But at first, like, she sounded like she was startled, like, who's there? And then I heard her screaming.
Your mother was screaming your name for help.
And I wanted to go and help her. But he had told me prior, if you come in the bedroom, Victor might hurt you too. Like, Victor will lash out at you if you try and stop it. So I was scared of that. And I was scared of what I would see. And I was just so scared. So I didn't move, even though I wanted to. And then she called my name about 3 or 4 times, wanting help. I didn't move. And then it all went quiet.
How did she call your name?
It was like asking for help. Like, Gypsy, help me.
Did she call it as though she knew you were involved, help you, or?
No, I don't think she knew. I think that maybe she thought it was a random break-in.
Take me through the moment you heard that.
It broke my heart. Because I knew there was no going back, even if I wanted to. It's like part of me wanted to save her, because there were good parts to her, and she was my mother. And then the other part of me was like, if it's gonna be over in a little while, and I'll be able to live this good life where I'm free of her.
But moments before, you had just let the murderer in the door and handed him rubber gloves and a knife.
Mm-hmm.
And your good life was going to be with this man that murdered your mother.
Yes.
Did you think about the fact that you were making a plan to live with someone that you say was capable of stabbing your mother to death?
A daughter, once thought to be missing, is now charged with her mother's murder.
The news of Gypsy's alleged involvement in the crime is the biggest shock of them all.
Court records show Godejohn and Gypsy were in an online relationship for 2 years. An earlier statement, investigators say Godejohn told them that he and Gypsy planned to kill Dee Dee so they could be together. Records show Godejohn came to Springfield from Wisconsin after Gypsy asked him to kill her mother.
Did you think about the fact that you were making a plan to live with someone that you say was capable of stabbing your mother to death?
I thought he loved me, and I thought he wanted to protect me, and I thought I'd be safe with him.
You were in the bathroom floor.
Mm-hmm.
Did he come in there?
He did. Whenever it was all over, he had this knock code. He knocked on the door 3 times, scratched the door twice, and that was his code to let him in. But before I could let him in, he commanded me that I must shave my legs and any body hair and present myself to him naked.
So he's standing outside the door with a knife and rubber gloves on, and it sounds to me like you're preparing yourself like a sacrifice.
It's what Victor wanted.
And you did it. Take me through the moment you opened the door.
I opened the door and I was completely naked, but I was wearing a wig because my head was shaved. I let him in and he was holding the knife in his hand and his finger was bleeding. And he said she tried to fight me off, but I was too strong for her. Clean up my finger. So I got bandages, cleaned off his finger. Then he commanded me to clean up blood spots on the carpet that led from her bedroom to the kitchen, where he had walked to get a paper towel to cover up his finger.
What happened then?
He tells me to grab a suitcase. I find a suitcase, and he starts going through my things in my closet, picking out clothes to pack. Then he calls the cab, and we leave the house.
So how far do you think you were from your mother's dead body while all this was going on?
Not far. My room is across from hers. I don't know how long it took her to pass away.
Did you go in the room?
No, sir. And every time I'd pass by the room, he would stand by the door and block my view, so I couldn't see.
Did you want to see?
No, sir.
You've seen it since then?
No, sir.
They've never shown you a picture?
I've requested, even from my attorneys, don't show me.
Did it occur to you that he's dripping his blood all over the place and you're calling a cab? This is not real stealthy.
I know. We were stupid, and I can't say, oh, I wish we would have planned it out better or whatever. I just wish we wouldn't have done anything to begin with. I wish he would have just said, I will help you get out of your situation, but by means of contacting the police.
Where did you go?
To the hotel that he was staying at.
As soon as this is over, are you immediately wishing it hadn't happened, or are you happy it happened?
I thought that Gypsy was relieved that her mom was dead. I was in shock. You never want to think somebody that you love is capable of doing something so horrendous.
I don't think Dee Dee deserved to be killed. I mean, what she did was definitely wrong. There's no question that you don't do that to your child, but there's not a lot of love lost now.
As soon as this is over, are you immediately wishing it hadn't happened, or are you happy it happened?
It was a mix of emotions. To be honest, I felt numb. It's like it wasn't real, but there was some happy times in there that I guess I was happy.
Well, comment on this for me. This is a video, part of one was taken in the hotel.
Hi, honey. I'm feeling it. He's eating a brownie.
That's less than 24 hours after your mother has been stabbed to death.
I wasn't myself. I had been taking narcotics, such as Xanax and Vicodin. I was high, very high.
He was a different persona now?
Yes, he was. He was the loving boyfriend that is gonna make all my dreams come true.
How do you feel about him now?
I can't stand him. Because I went from one abusive person to another. I wish he would have been more responsible. He was the first person I ever told that I could walk. And yet I asked him a question. I asked him to kill my mother, but I didn't hold a gun to his head and make him do it. He seemed more happy to do it than anything. And that's why I can't stand him, is because he knew. I think he knew that he could easily get me out of that situation by calling the police, being responsible.
So y'all pull this off, you get away with this for like 4 days before you're in custody.
Yes, sir.
And then you're in an interrogation room.
Your mom's dead, okay? Now, what I want to ask you is, your mom passed away, okay? If he's deceased, all right? Now, what I want to ask you, did you have involvement in this? Okay.
No.
Hang on, listen to me for just a second, okay? What happened with your mom that night?
I don't know what happened with my mom.
Okay, just listen to me, okay, sweetheart? You know what happened to your mom, okay? And I know that you know.
You think that it's me? Why would you think that it's me? I have always loved my mom. My mom and I are best friends.
Listen to me. Please don't get yourself in this. And that's what you're doing.
Tell me what you're thinking right now.
What happened with my mom?
Okay, just listen to me, okay, sweetheart? You know what happened to your mom, okay? And I know that you know.
You think that it's me? Why would you think that it's me? I have always loved my mom. My mom and I are best friends.
Listen to me. Please don't get yourself.
Tell me what you're thinking right now.
I wish I wouldn't have done any of that. It's hard to see pictures of that house and the memory and pictures of her in the wheelchair.
Well, was it justice?
No. She didn't deserve what happened. If anything, she just deserved to be where I am.
Did she warp your personality? Did she warp your mind? Did she warp your moral compass?
In the beginning, yes. And through my life, yes. She taught me how to be a good liar. A very good liar without any conscience. And I'm changing that. I'm trying to be a good person now. I don't want to be like my mother, and I'm nothing like her.
She was trained to lie and steal and cheat and all of that her whole life. Now it's just teaching her how to do the right things and you know, believe in that way of being right and true and trustworthy. But she's still got 6-7 years before she gets out. It's just a lot to choke down, deal with, and digest.
When we found out everything that happened with Dee Dee and with Gypsy, I was furious. I couldn't believe that a mother would do this to their child. How could any parent, you know, hurt their child. But Dee Dee was a piece of work. Definitely a piece of work.
You say all you did was to ask him a question, but in the 3 days prior to the murder, you had some text exchanges that seemed to me that this Plan B was pretty much a collaborative process.
I just wish I could go back and walk in front of somebody. And none of this would have had to happen.
You said he could have said no. You could have walked out that front door. You called a cab after you hacked her to death. You could have got to call that cab and left. You could have gone to a women's shelter. You could have gone to a police station.
She would have found me. She would have convinced them that I was lying. And she had paperwork to prove like I was mentally incompetent. Nobody would have believed me.
You think this was your only exit?
I thought it was at the time.
What do you think now?
If I can go back. Now I know I should have called my dad. I should have told somebody. I should have walked in front of somebody. And it would have changed everything.
Tell me about this post.
Me and Nick made that post on her Facebook account.
It says, "The bitch is dead." It says, "I slashed that fat pig and raped her sweet innocent daughter. Her scream was so loud. LOL." Why that particular message?
It was alarming. The whole point of the post was I wanted her found. I couldn't stand the thought of her body just being there. And I remember something Nick had said when he first entered the house to kill her. And it was, "This bitch is dead." And so my mother never cussed online. She never put anything alarming. And I thought that was alarming. That would alert some of her friends to call the police.
Well, in the alternative, you could have just gone to a payphone and called police and said, "Go check this address. There's a dead body in there." Or you could have said, "Do you need to do a wellness check on XYZ address?"
I wasn't that smart.
You could do that as opposed to 4 days after you hacked your mother to death saying that bitch is dead. I mean, that's a pretty aggressive tip.
It was meant to be aggressive. It was meant to be alerting. Because I thought her friends would look at that and say, something's not right. So let's call the police.
Well, that's an understatement. Something's not right.
But I do regret making that statement. Not because it got me found and arrested, but because that was so wrong. It's not right.
Well, let me ask you this. So, they find your mother hacked to death. Your wheelchair's there. You're gone. How did you think this was going to turn out? How did you think this was going to turn out?
I thought that they would put out a missing report for me and that people would just give up. Lots of kids go and people go missing and then they're never found. So I thought that I'd be one of those cases, that I'd just never be found.
But you told your friend you had a boyfriend, a secret boyfriend.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, what was that one? Then, of course, he's dripping his DNA from the bedroom to the bathroom, back into the other bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And you got paper towels in the trash with his DNA all over them.
Mm-hmm.
You mailed the knife to his parents?
To his house, yeah.
John told detectives he mailed the knife back to his Wisconsin home where he and Gypsy were arrested.
Of those items, a knife found in an envelope addressed to the Big Ben home with a return address of the Blanchard home, and 2 cell phones, a flip phone and a smartphone.
He wanted me to take the murder weapon in my backpack on the Greyhound bus. I've never been on a Greyhound bus, so I thought maybe there were metal detectors. And so I was like, no, let's mail it. People buy knives off of eBay, so we'll just mail the knife to your house. And he said, well, we'll throw it away in Lake Superior, and nobody will ever find it. But we didn't. We got arrested before we can dispose of it.
Is your life ruined?
No, sir, it's not.
How long are you going to be here?
I see the board in 2021.
What do you want to do with your life?
I want to be an advocate for abused children or abused people. If I would have known that there was something called Munchausen by proxy syndrome out there, perhaps it would have nudged me to get help from somebody, because I thought my mother was the only person like that. And so I want to speak about my experience to encourage people, if they're being abused, get help, because it can make a difference. And that way they won't end up like me. They won't end up in prison. It won't get that bad.
What do you think should happen to Nick?
I think that he should spend the rest of his life in prison.
Do you think he exploited you?
I think he did. I think he used me to have his own means. He was a lonely person, not a lot of friends. Girls would never look at him, so I was the only one that would never tell him no. I would always agree to everything he said and do it with a smile. And I think he saw that in me from living with my mother. Like, I had that submissive, low self-esteem, codependent personality that I think he could prey on that. And he used me.
Nick's going to have to own what he does, and you have to own your part of it. Your mother wasn't even on his radar till you put her there.
I know.
And you have to own that. This is not a typical situation. You are both victim and perpetrator here. You were chronically victimized by a sick and demented woman. If she's done all the things that it appears and the records reflect that she's done here. And then you became perpetrator. So this is an unusual case, and it is an unusual circumstance. And I hope that you put a frame around this. I hope you own your bad decisions and you find your way to forgive yourself for those things. And I hope you find your way to forgive your mother for the things that she's done to you, because you have suffered terribly. And if you don't find meaning to your suffering, if you don't use that suffering and use the tragedy of your mother's loss to create some meaning in this world, then it will make you insane. At some level, do you think what you did is justified? At some level, do you think what you did is justified?
No, nothing justifies murder. I think that abuse should be punished by prison.
But on one hand, can it be looked at as self-defense? I mean, on one hand, she was dicing you up, girl. How many surgeries did you have?
So many.
10, 20?
I'm pretty sure 30 more. Because I had multiple eye muscle surgeries, multiple leg surgeries, multiple throat surgeries. I don't have salivary glands. Not these anymore because they were removed.
You got cut open. You got parts taken out of you. You got hacked up. You got poisoned. Your childhood was stolen from you. Your adolescence was stolen from you. Your teen years were stolen from you.
I know. I'm trying to take the high road. And I found my faith while I've been in here. I've always been a person of religion, but I have to pray to forgive my mother. But right now, the hardest thing is to forgive myself. I have so much guilt.
Well, the first person you got to help is yourself. You're very conflicted right now.
I am.
I mean, you feel very guilty on one hand and very exploited on another. And that's because both things are true. You were terribly victimized. You were tortured as a child year after year after year. That's terrible. You know, it's just a perfect storm of bad circumstance and bad psyche. And I think that's why they were willing to make a plea deal with you instead of drop the hammer on you. Because otherwise, you could be here for 40 years.
Or life without parole.
Yeah. So I think the system has acknowledged the uniqueness of the situation while also meting out a punishment that says we cannot condone this kind of vigilante justice of getting even.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to judge her. I'm never going to question or ask her why you didn't do this or why you did this that way. I feel guilt. How can I let this happen? You know, why I wasn't there for Gypsy more. If I could have built that relationship with her, she wouldn't have hesitated to call me and say, Daddy, you know, this ain't right.
I told her, I don't judge you for what you did, but I understand why you did it. No matter what, I'm always here for you, and I love you.
Not even God can change what has happened. The future hasn't happened yet. The past is over. The only time is now and what you do in this moment. And what you've got to do is not make excuses for what you've done, but own that that's 100% wrong and equip yourself with more powerful, more empowering coping skills so you don't get in this situation again. And if you can use your life, if you do become an advocate, if you do have opportunity to speak, you do have a compelling story. But you're not anywhere near equipped to tell it at this point because you've got to find every lesson from that story that you have right now, because what you have right now is a compelling story, but there's not a takeaway from it yet. I do want to help you have a chance to redeem yourself in this life.
Thank you.
And I will lead you to some resources that will help you do that.
Thank you.
And I will do that, and I will say it in the same breath that I say I absolutely condemn what you did. I condemn the choice you made to escape. At the same time, I condemn everyone in the system that failed you. Just because you made a bad choice doesn't mean that your life should be over. You're going to pay your debt in here. But then you should spend the rest of your life making up for it.
I will.
And you've got something to offer. You want to find something specific that makes a meaningful difference, and I'll help you identify what that is.
Good. Because I want to make a difference. And I believe that I have the story too. I believe that I am getting better. I've grown a lot since I've been in here, matured a lot. I had loving support to help me get there. But I think the next 50% is going to have to be from more help than just me.
Now you've got to get yourself ready for the next phase of your life, and I'm saying I'll help you do that.
Thank you.
Right. How long have you been here now?
About a year and a half.
Okay. So how's life here now? What's day in the life like for you?
It's not so bad. I go to school. I have a job.
What's your job?
My job is working on my housing unit, janitorial services.
Uh-huh.
So I clean. I go to school in the morning. I love going to the library.
The administration here, they seem really dedicated to keeping the women here safe and to helping them really rehabilitate and better themselves.
They offer free education, and especially for someone like me that came here with a second grade education, never been to real school. I'm very close to getting my GED.
And you have family support.
I do. I do. My father, he has some guilt, and I try and tell him, don't feel guilty because you're in my life now. You're here now, and that's what's important to me.
Gypsy, thanks so much for talking to me, okay?
Thank you so much, Dr. Phil.
Gypsy pleaded guilty to second-degree murder for her role in her mother's death and is currently serving a 10-year sentence. Her boyfriend, Nicholas Godejean, was sentenced to life in prison for first-degree murder. I want to thank HBO for the use of their video from their documentary, Mommy, Dad, and Dearest. You can watch that on HBO Now and HBO Go. Now, since her conviction, she has been engaged to several men and even gotten married while in prison. She has since said that marriage is over. Her story became the scripted show The Act, starring Patricia Arquette, who won both an Emmy and a Golden Globe for her performance.